All right, hey guys, this is a lesson for April 29th. All right, yesterday you should have done pages 355 and 356. I'm going to go over this really quickly and give you the answer. I'm not going to spend a lot of time talking about a lot of this. We did this one together. Okay, there's the answers for it. Obviously, you should have already done that one. Okay, here's the answers for number 2. You should pause the video and check your work, by the way. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time here. So this question, answers for number 2. Answers for number 3 is right here. Okay. And now the answer for number 4 here, okay, gets a little bit tricky. And I'm actually going to do this 4 and 5. I'll actually do this one to kind of model and show how to approach this problem. Okay. Here's the answers if you also want to look at them, but it's not just about the answers, but why did we do what we did? So let's go ahead and look at this. Grab a piece of paper here. All right. So number 4 says Connor earns $9 an hour for doing yard work. He rakes leaves one afternoon and he earns this much money, $29.25. How many hours did he rake leaves? How many hours did he rake leaves? So we know that he didn't rake leaves for a round number of hours because we have a number that has a decimal and stuff in it, right? And if he makes $9 an hour, it would be an equal number there. So we obviously know this is the answer, but let's look at a process of how we get there. So what we have is this is what he earned. He earned $29.25, right? Okay, $29.25. Oh, sorry, I apologize. My video yesterday, I kind of cut off on my work when I was working because I wasn't looking at the video. So I apologize. I'll try to be more conscientious of that as we move forward. So if this is how much he made during the afternoon, and he makes $9 an hour, we want to find out how many hours he worked. Well, if he makes $9 per hour, and he made this much total, if we divide this by 9, we're going to get the number of hours that he worked. Okay, so we're going to divide this by 9. Okay, so there's multiple ways we can approach this problem. We obviously could use some of the strategies that have already been discussed. Okay, we could go ahead and look at this from the standpoint of 2,925 hundredths divided by 9, and that would, or 2,925 pennies, because this is money we're dealing with here. We can divide that by 9. That would totally work. We could go ahead and do 2,925 and go ahead and use our big 7 strategy if we wanted and divide that by 9, and that would work. That's one way to get it. I'm not gonna go through that whole process. There's multiple ways you could do that. For a lot of you, that's how you feel comfortable. Do it. Okay. We could also think about this way. Let's just take the $29. Let's take $29 and let's just quickly go, what is 29 divided by 9? Don't worry about the 25 cents right now. Okay, 29 divided by 9, well, it's not going to equal anything perfectly, right? So if we look at it as having a remainder, well, I know that 9 times 3 is 27, right? 9 times 3 equals 27. Okay, so 27 is a little bit less than that, but I can't make another group. I would have to get to $30 one night to make it, not 30, what am I thinking? I'm thinking to 3, don't even worry, it's been a long day. 9 times 3, oh, sorry guys. 9 times 3 is 27, right? So we'd have 3, but there's gonna be a leftover, right? Because it equals 27, the difference between 29 and 27 is 3, so this would have a remainder of 2, right? Okay. All right, cool. So that means he worked for 3 hours with a remainder of 2. What does that remainder of 2 really refer to? Well, that's the amount of money that we're going to leave in this leftover, right? So we're going to go ahead and leave that in here. So we just took 27. We just took 27 out of the 29.25. So again, if we have 29.25, we take 27 out of it. That leaves us with 2.25, right? Okay, sweet. So far we have 3 hours, right? So let's figure out what the rest of it is. So now we're looking at dividing 2 and 2,500 divided by 9. Oh, you can't do that, Mr. Smotches. The 2 is less. Well, yes, we can. We're just going to get a number that's going to be smaller than a whole, correct? So let's think about this. If I go ahead and treat this like we talked about here, if I just treat this like 225, So then I'm looking at 225 divided by 9, right? Well, sweet, we could do that. Okay. So 225, let's go ahead and do this, divided by 9. We'll use the big substrate. I'm starting to do it again, sorry. Divided by 9, 225 divided by 9 here. Okay. I know that it can go in there well. How many times can 9 go into, let's think about it as 22. Well, it can go in there twice, right? Because that's 18. So it can go in there 20 times, right? 20 times 9 is 180. I'm going to go and subtract here. I get 5. Let's see, you got to regroup. Okay, 45. Then I got to ask myself how many 9s are there in 45, or what times 9 equals 45? The answer is 5, right? Gets me to 45. Subtract, now I'm down to 0. We're good. Add this together, and that equals 25. But remember, this was 225 hundredths, right? These are hundredths, okay? So this right here is actually 225 hundredths. So this right here is 25, but it's going to be 25 hundredths, right? You also could call that 25 cents. So, but remember up here, this $3 that I had up here? I just need to put this together now, don't I? I have $3 and 25 cents. Now, for those of you think, oh, that's really confusing for me. Well, I just broke it apart. I didn't follow any specific type of algorithm or anything like that. I just broke it apart and used logic to problem solve. Okay. The idea is that I figured out part of it, took what's left over, and just applied it. It'd be the same strategy if I did this, just it would look a little different, or if I used my box strategy, right? If I use my box strategy, my area model strategy, and I had, let's see here, 2925, and if I just actually go through this and I divide this by 9, again, how many groups can I get out? Well, I can start with 300, okay, because I removed the decimal point, so I'm thinking about it as hundredths, okay? So the idea is 300 times this would be, times 9 would be 2,700. Go ahead and subtract 5, 2, 2. There's my 225, which I had earlier. Add a new box. That 225 is going to go up here. Okay, and then naturally, we already figured this out. If I figure this out, let's do it in chunks. So let's just do 20 first. And that would give me my 180. That would subtract down to 45. Add another box. There's my 45. And I know that is 545. That gets me down to my 0, so we know we're good. We add these together, and that equals 325. Okay. Now, again, this is 325 hundredths, so I gotta make sure that I replace my decimal point to make sure that it's showing hundredths, okay? Because this is 325 hundredths, oops, only one S, okay? Which is equal to, which this all equals 3 and 25 hundredths, right? Okay. So, on to the next problem. The problem says, looking at problem 4, how much does Connor earn each minute he does yard work? Well, we're not worried about anything else besides how much money he makes per hour, which is 9, and minutes, right? So what we're going to be looking at, he makes $9 an hour. That's per hour, right? So it's for 1 hour, he makes $9. But we want to figure out how much he makes per minute. So we need to take how much he earns per hour, and we need to divide this by 60. So a lot of you, again, a lot of kids always get stuck on things like this. They're like, oh, wait a second, Mr. Swanch, this doesn't work. Because I'm taking 9, I'm dividing it by a number that's larger. Well, yes, you are. You're going to get a number that's going to be smaller than 1 whole. I like using money because money is easy to convert to decimals because we're used to doing it. Well, yes, this is $9, has no change. So we could also write this as $9 this way too, can't we? And what if I told you that we could do it like this now? Divide this by 16. Now, all of a sudden, if I look at this as 900 cents, essentially, 900 pennies, 900 hundredths, all of a sudden, the numbers don't look as bad anymore. All of a sudden, it doesn't look like it's off, I guess. So if I go and use this strategy, and I'll go ahead and use the box model to give another example of the box here. Okay, I have 900 divided by 60. Remember, I'm just treating this as 900 hundredths. I'm going to divide this by 60. Okay. How many times can 60 go into, how many times can 60 go into 900? Well, let's think about it. If I go in there, let's go 10 times, right? 10 times 60, 10 times 60 is 600. Subtract, I get 30, right? Move that up here. Here's my 300. Okay, then I think, okay, well, what times 60 equals 300? I could also eliminate that 0 and eliminate that 0. So all I have left is that. That hopefully makes it even easier. I can see that how many 6s can go into 30, okay? Because those zeros would basically balance each other out. Well, how many 6s go into 30? Well, there's 5, right? So 5 times 60 would be 300. There, it gets me down to 0. Add these together, and I get 15 hundredths. Correct? 15 hundredths is the same as 0.15 or 15 hundredths this way. If I convert that into money, I have 15 cents. Okay, so he makes 15 cents per minute. Okay, and not want to spend any more time on that. Obviously, you can rewatch this. You can pause and rewind. That's the beauty of having the video. The beauty of the video. So let's go ahead and go on to our lesson is today. I don't want to spend too much time on these things because I want to make the videos too long. Let's look at this first one here. It says Grant. Hey, Grant. Grant has 3.6 pounds of pretzels. He puts the pretzels into bags that each hold 3/10 pounds. On 3/10 pound, how many bags does Grant use to hold the pretzels? So in this one here, we have a bunch of pretzels, right? We have 3.6 pounds of pretzels. And we're going to take this and we're going to make them into smaller bags. And each of these smaller bags is going to hold 0.3 pounds. So at the end of the day, the problem that we're looking at here, by the way, I'm going to stop. You should pause this and try that and just try it on your own, right? Okay, so do that. Okay, now that we're back, you've tried this. The idea is that you're not moving forward until you've tried this. Now that you've tried it, we're going to look at this as 3.6 divided by 0.3. Okay, 0. I'll put a 0 there. 0.3. Now, when we're dividing by whole numbers, we're looking at breaking into that many groups. So this last problem here, we're talking about dividing this by 9, right? Dividing this by 9. So the idea was that we were making 9 groups, making 9 groups. Okay, that was our mentality with this type of division. With this division here, do I want to make 0.3 groups? Instead, I want to shift the way I think and make them into groups of 3/10. So that means each group is going to have 3/10. So there's 2 different ways we can look at this. We can either look at breaking this into groups of this size or that many groups. I don't want 0.3 groups, okay? I want that much as far as the size in each group, right? So let's go ahead and model this and try to make some sense of this. I'm going to use a bar model here, and this bar model right here is going to represent 1 pound. Okay, because we're dealing with tenths, and because we're dealing with tenths here as well, we're dealing with tenths, and I want to get these into 3/10 groups. So I'm going to go ahead and break this up into 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm going to break these up into tenths. Okay, so this is one whole. And these are each one of these is 1/10. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of them, right? So let's go and make another pound. Here's another pound. Do this like this. Do the same thing here as model this, and we're gonna 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, that's 2 pounds, but we need to get to 3.6 pounds, don't we? 3.6 pounds, as it says right here. So let's go ahead and do another one here. 3 pounds. Oh, sorry, 1 pound. 1 pound here. I'm gonna add it on this end. 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10, perfect. So that's 3 pounds. We still need 0.6 more, don't we? So I'm gonna add another whole pound here. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But we only need 6 of these, don't we? So we can take 4 away. 1, 2, 3, 4. So therefore, these ones here are 0.6. So that's 1, 2, 3 pounds and 6/10 pound, right? So 3.6 pounds. That's what we have right here. Now I'm going to divide these into groups of 3/10. I'm going to divide them into groups of 3/10. I'm using some different colors here so you can hopefully see them a little bit clearer. So I'm going to divide these into groups of 3/10. Well, we know that each of these boxes is 1/10, right? So if I go ahead and do this, 1, 2, 3/10, right? That's one bag. That right there is one bag. I just got use a different color here. 1, 2, 3/10. That's a second bag. Let's do a third bag. 1, 2, 3. That's a third bag. Okay. Ooh, there's not enough here, is there? There's not enough in this one. But we can just move on to the next one, right? So I'm going to go ahead and do that. Let's use this color here. That's going to be 1, 2, 3/10, and that's another bag, right? We're just sorting these and putting them into bags, right? Let's see here. What color am I? Let's see. I'm going to use this color. Let's use this color too. A bunch of different colors here. 1, 2, 3. Another bag. 1, 2, 3. Another bag. Let's go back to my beginning colors. 1, 2. Oh, same thing as last time. 3. Another bag. Let's do this one. 1, 2, 3. Another bag. Let's go to the next one here. 1, 2, 3. Another bag. Almost there. 1, 2, 3. Another bag. 1, 2, 3. And lastly, 1, 2, 3, right? All those pins out of the way now. So now you can see each color that changes, right? Not these same, like these are obviously the same color, but those don't mean that they're one bag together, just where the colors change. I'm just sorting and organizing the bags. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So this shows me that there are 12 bags, okay? Oh, pretzels. Pretzels, okay. So this is one way to approach this problem, is that I'm illustrating on my bar model my 3.6, and then I'm quite literally dividing that into tenths because that's what I'm dealing with, right? And then I'm quite literally breaking that into groups of 3/10, because when I divide by 3/10, I need each group to have 3/10. If I divide by 9, I need each group to have 9, or I'm going to have 9 groups. Either way works as far as how I think about it, right? Okay, and how I approach it. When I'm dividing by tenths here, like the thing is, that's what our skills, we're dividing by tenths here. Because I'm dividing by tenths, I don't want to think about it as 3/10 groups, because that's a less than a whole group, and that gets confusing. Instead, I want to think about it from the standpoint that each group is going to have this much in it. Okay, and now you can clearly see how that works. So I imagine this like you have a giant bag of pretzels, and then I take it and I'm going to divide it into like little Ziploc baggies or something, right? Okay. And I put those in those Ziploc baggies, and then I have 12 of these bags that all made up the whole bag of pretzels that I bought at the store. Okay. Now, there's other ways we could think about this, obviously. So again, if my problem is 3.6 divided by 0.3, I should think multiplication, right? Now this, obviously, if some of you are already thinking multiplication, it makes it way easier. So if I use the inverse operation, I'm going to put this as equals B. B is for bags, okay? So we'll use that as our variable. So 3.6 divided by 0.3 equals B. The inverse of this would be 0.3 times B equals 3.6, right? Sweet. All I have to do is think about what times that equals this, right? Easy peasy, okay? Now if you're like, oh, but that's still confusing for me, let's think about this, okay? Since I'm talking about tenths here, I'm talking about the same values, right? Well, I could simply, because they're both dealing with tenths, I could simply just say 3 times b equals 36. Because they're in the same place values that we're dealing with, this is saying 3 tenths, this is saying 36 tenths. So therefore, I can look at it as 3 times what equals 36? Well, I know that answer is 12. Well, it'd be the same thing because these are both tenths. Easy peasy, right? Okay. So obviously, if you're like, oh, stop, you can pause the video, go back and relook at that, right? Okay. On this page here, there's some examples. This is another example of similar to what I talked about, right? Very, very similar concept here, okay? And how they're broken up into these sizes, right? Okay. Okay. Again, if this helps you, obviously makes sense, then that's great. So just another way of looking at it. They use 100 charts, right? So in this 100 chart, each column here is 1/10, right? So I'll write on this real fast. This is 1/10, this is 1/10, this is 1/10, right? For a total of 3/10 altogether, right? And so each column here is 0.1. And so as we look across here, we have 1, 2, 3 holes and 6/10. Again, it's the same idea. They were just divided into groups of that. And you can see it that way. It's a great way of thinking about it. Down here at the bottom is the same way I just did it. So I'm not going to spend too much time because I literally just talked about that. Okay. If you listen to and understand what I was saying here, these questions should be pretty straightforward to answer because we literally just talked about all of these. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on these because I literally already talked about these. This is your chance to take what we already talked about and make sense of it into your explanations here. A lot of these explanations don't need to be super complicated, okay? And so look back at it. Like, for example, number 1, let's just do number 1 together just to help you out here. How do you decide what to shade? In the picture it here, how did you decide what to shade? Well, I decided what to shade. I decided that it was going to be because I'm dividing into 3/10 groups, right? Because I'm dividing it. Oh, and what to shade? I apologize. What to shade here? That's even easier because we're going to shade 3.6 pounds because that's how many my total have, and that's why I'm going to divide into groups, right? This is my total amount, so I want to represent my total amount. So that's what's actually shaded, right? Again, not that complicated. I started confused. I started going to the next one. Okay, why are the grids separated into 3 columns? Well, each column is worth 1/10 each, and I want 3/10. So there 3 columns equal 3/10. So you need to write your answer, reflect on that, showing that your understanding of it. Okay. And then model it. How did you know this was a division problem? Well, again, thinking about how this is worded, obviously don't just write because the book shows it. Think about this because the idea is that we're dividing these into bags, right? So for the model, we know this is a division problem because of that. Okay. Explain why this is equal to this. We talked about this the other day in class. Again, 36/10. Well, we know this because 3 holes is equal to 30/10. And then 6/10 is obviously 6/10, and 30/10 plus 6/10 together make 36/10. That's just one way to explain it. And then numbers 5 and 6 here, then go ahead and finish this up. I want you to actually answer number 7 today. I didn't have you done. Actually, I want you to answer number 7 today as you've been thinking about multiple strategies now. How do you like to approach it? That's all I want you to think about and reflect on yourself. How do you like to approach solving these problems, okay? So you should be able to do the rest of these and then go ahead on your own and do page 360. I will, obviously, like I've been doing, I will go over these later and the next day. I'll go over these on the next video. But for this video, I'm not going to do these right now. You should be able to apply what you saw. Again, if you are not watching the videos and pausing and going back and things like that, then you're doing something wrong probably. Okay? Or you get it completely the first time, which is great, and I would love that. That's just not the reality for the majority of us, as this can be some tricky concepts. Again, try to check in. I will be online at some point in the afternoon today and come with your questions, but watch the video first. I can't express that enough. Okay. All right. Talk to you guys later.